Hello again. We've got a lot to get through today, so let's get straight on with it. First up is My First Talking Percy. A great model, but it could do with a bit of an oil. He cost me 75p. Let's turn him on. Okay, now let's listen to what he's got to say. Now let's move on to our first book. This one is the Christopher Awdry book, Henry Goes to Hospital. I paid 20p for this. It's a great story which revolves around Henry having to take a little girl named Amy to hospital. It features illustrations by Ken Stott and it was published in 1992. Here we have one of the New Look Railway series books. This one is James the Red Engine. Although I agree that this design is probably more appealing for younger readers, I personally am not a fan of it. I don't think you can beat the nice, neat, tidy layout of the original books. This one was published in 1998. Now we have something that I bought new from a toy shop. Let's open him. One thing that used to annoy me That's one thing that used to annoy me with these models as a kid. The little strap things that holds the engines in place used to be all tangled round the engine's wheels. It used to drive everyone mad. At least the straps now go right over the engine, making it easier to snip off. I know what you're all thinking, you already have a Bill model. Well, you're right, but I've been meaning to get a new one to replace him for ages. I didn't go out intending to buy him, but I got him nonetheless. One thing that drew me to him was the little truck. I haven't got any pieces of rolling stock like it, and it looks great. You'll see why I needed to replace my original model as we do a quick side-by-side comparison to see which is the superior model. I'm sure you can tell, but the new TrackMaster Bill is on the left. Looking at the two models head-on, you can see why I wanted to replace him. Ever since I bought my Bill, he's had a cracked nose, and I noticed that it shows up quite prominently. Other than the crack, the faces are quite similar. What else is different? Well, we can see that the old model has stickers for windows, which is something that is missing rather surprisingly from the newer model. I suppose I could draw the windows on myself with a marker pen, but I really don't trust myself. Let's have a look at the sides. Up close we can see that on the old model the piece of red lining by the cab is just a sticker. On the newer model it's actually built into the model, which looks much better. Let's look at the boiler of the old model. Take note of the red lining on the little box beneath the boiler. I don't know what you call that, but take note of it, because on the newer model the red lining is missing. The back of the new model is very disappointing. You can see what I'm talking about here. I suppose, again, it's nothing that a black marker couldn't fix, but still. I conclude that in this case the older model has more details. Let's put a battery in Bill. I paid the full retail price for Bill, £10.99. Here's a Ladybird book. It's Toby and the Stout Gentleman and Thomas in Trouble. Not much to say about this one, so let's move on. Something I wouldn't usually buy now, it's a little wash set. So, it contains a bar of soap, a small comb, and a bottle of bath and shower gel. It costs $1.29, something a bit different for the collection at least. Here's something for my new collection of Take Along and Take and Plays. It's a Take Along Percy. A great model, as you can see. It was $6.99 and then reduced to £4, and then I paid £2, which was a bargain. I'm not going to take it out of the packaging because I've no reason to do so. Another model now, and this one is a TrackMaster Hank. For anyone who watches my series, you'll know that I already have Hank. This one is in very good condition, so I'll probably sell it and buy another model for my next series. One thing I've never liked about Hank's model is the fact that the side rods don't move. They look nice, but I'd rather that they moved. Other than that, he's a very highly detailed model. I'd better test it to see if it works. And, like quite a few of the bigger engines, the battery goes in the tender. Prior to buying Hank for the first time, I read some reviews on Amazon. A few of them said that because Hank is powered from behind, he keeps jumping off the rails. I have to say I have never had that problem. Have you? I paid £1.50 for Hank. Now on to a battered old board book. It's Henry Helps Out, which is based on the third season episode, Henry's Forest. It's ripped and it's in a terrible condition, so this one's probably destined for the bin. It was published in 2003. Next up it's a jigsaw puzzle. Unfortunately, I accidentally bought two. The one in the battered box cost me 99p, and the one in the better condition cost £1.50. The £1.50 one says it's complete, but we're going to make the 99p one. The first puzzle features Thomas, James, Cranky and Harold at Brendam Docks. I don't think it's based on anything in particular, but it kind of resembles one of the promo images from Calling All Engines. When I first made this, I couldn't find all the pieces, but stay tuned because I have a feeling that they'll turn up. For now, let's move on to the third puzzle. This one features Thomas along with Gordon, Spencer and the Fat Controller at the sheds. There's another piece from that second puzzle. Continuing on to the fourth now. This one shows Thomas and Murdoch working with Jack, George and Elizabeth. You may have noticed that there's some pieces left over. I wonder where they go. The second puzzle shows Stepney and Thomas with Bertie. On to a new book now. This one's a hardback version of the book Thomas, Emily and the Special Coaches. I paid $1.99 for this book, which was published in 2011. Along the same lines is this book, Thomas, Percy and the Fun Fair. Like the last book, it cost just $1.99. Also, like the last book, it was published last year. Something else rather unusual now, a little Thomas bag. Not much to say about this, but I've just noticed it's got an ink stain. Oh well, I only paid 49p. Two more books up next, both television tie-ins. Toby Had a Little Lamb first. Not much to say except it was published in 2003. Secondly, Gordon in the Competition, which is based on the episode Best Dressed Engine. It was published a year later than the previous in 2004. They cost 30p each. I want your help now. Here's 4 differently sized Thomas models. I need your help to identify them. Let's start with the biggest and probably most bizarre. A nice looking model. On the bottom it has another wheel which can move within a groove. It says on the bottom that it was made by Tommy in 2006. Time to open him up now and put a battery in. But first the challenge of removing the old ones. Well, I finally got the batteries out and put the new ones in, and it appeared to do absolutely nothing. But then... unfortunately, I couldn't get it moving again. What is this model, and how does it work? If I had to guess, I'd say it looks similar to an aqua drawer, Thomas. Next is this one. Another very detailed model which costs 50p. It requires a battery, so let's try and open it. This proves more difficult than it sounds, so let's move on for now. Here's another slightly smaller model. It also costs 50p. I've no idea what model this is. It was made in 2006. One thing I noticed is that the rear coupling hook is the same as the ones used on the TrackMaster models. Do you know what model this is? Finally is this little tiny Thomas model, which is just horrible. If it wasn't in a packet confirming otherwise, I'd say this was a counterfeit product. Its eyes are off-centre and it's greatly lacking in detail. I can't even remember where this came from. It seems to have been made in 2009. Now on to a good model. This one is a Take and Play Isabella. I know I didn't open the Take Along Percy, but I actually intend to use this model in my series, so let's open it up. A great model, well worth $5.99. Watch out for Isabella popping up into my show sometime this year. Well, it was starting to get dark, so I decided to end filming there, but I couldn't resist having one last go on that large Thomas. Remember the Thomas model that I couldn't get open? Well, I finally got it open, and only to find that it uses these weird clock-like batteries. I don't have any, so this model remains a mystery. One thing I did notice that the dome actually pushes down, so perhaps it played a tune or something. We'll never know. Do you know what this model is, or what it does? Leave a comment below if you do. Back to Take and Plays now. This one is the Pop Goes Thomas model. It features a lemonade splattered Thomas and a truck full of lemonade bottles. It's not something I would usually buy because I don't like these special sets, but I got this in the sales cheap. It was $10.99 but reduced to around £3.10 I think in Sainsbury's, so I couldn't resist it. A story treasury now. This big book features 12 My Thomas Story Library books. It includes the titles Thomas, Bertie, Cranky, Gordon, The Fat Controller, Toby, Henry, Daisy, Diesel, Emily, Donald, Douglas and Percy. It cost £5 from W.H. Smith in the sales. Here's something else that came from the same shop, which caught my eye. It's a story library book with a new design and a new title. This one's Oliver the Great Western Engine. I also saw, but didn't buy, Percy the Small Engine and Harold the Helicopter. Let's take a moment to compare the new design with the old one. Let's take a look at the title page. From then on, the illustrations and the story are the same as the original. This new design was published in 2011. I'm assuming that this will be the last print of these books because it was announced late last year that the series had been discontinued. On the back pages of the book we see the characters that are available in the series. It cost, like the originals, £2.99. Here's the last of the TrackMaster engines I bought. This one is Duck, so let's get him open. It comes with this truck which appears to be a faceless Scruffy. Let's compare it with the old Tommy model. If you can't tell which is which, the one on the left is the new model. As you can see, the old model still has flour on him from filming the Christmas special Snow Bother. Well, straight away we can see that the eyes on the old model are off-centre. In fact, the face on the TrackMaster engine seems to look better, full stop. Also, we can see that Duck has one of the same downfalls as the new Bill. He has no windows on the front of his cab, something which is present on the older models. From the side we can see they look very similar. One of the only things that stick out to me are the bars are actually covered silver. On the old model they are just coloured green. Besides the windows, the backs are almost the same. In case you're wondering why I bought a new Duck, it's because the old model is broken. It's never worked properly since I bought it. Inside it appears to be rusty. Now let's put a battery in the new model. Unfortunately, it took me some time to work out how to do it, and I had to do something I barely never do. Read the instructions. I discovered that I had to remove the middle set of dummy wheels to open it. Now, let's see him in action. Like Bill, Duck cost me $10.99. 2 big television tie-in board books now. These are Edward's Brass Band and Percy Gets It Right. 3 videos up next. The first one is a battered Fun Time Favourites, which has a brilliant selection of episodes. Second is the bumper special release Thomas's Train and 17 other stories. A nice selection of episodes with a runtime of 100 minutes. Last is the very best of Thomas and Friends, which features 16 episodes. If you ask me, it has a great selection and probably really is the very best of Thomas and Friends. It runs for 89 minutes. Literally, as I was filming, another bag of stuff was handed to me. First up is a hit favourites release entitled Magical Children's Favourites. I know it doesn't contain Thomas, but it does contain my other favourite show, Sooty. The Sooty episode is Sooty's Magic Garden. Here you can see the other shows it contains. It has a total runtime of 124 minutes. Another hits favourite release now, and this one is Fantastic Children's Favourites. The Thomas episode is Thomas and the Tuba. There's the other programmes, and it has a runtime of 127 minutes. Next up is a Thomas Player soundbook called Good Morning Engines. Finally, we have 4 of these little pocket library books, which I already have. If you want them, just leave a comment below and I'll PM you. Otherwise, I'll just throw them out. Bear in mind it's not a full set. They seem to have cost 5p each. Well, we've finally come to an end now. I hope this video wasn't too long. Remember to leave a comment about the identity of those mystery Thomas models, and if you want the pocket library books, remember to leave a comment below. See you again soon. Bye bye everybody, bye bye.